Hi everyone and welcome to NameHero.com. Today I want to talk about how you can make money with our reseller hosting and offering managed WordPress to your hosting clients. Over the last year or two, we've seen an extremely large amount of growth at NameHero with offering WordPress hosting. Now, we see a lot of competitors, they use managed WordPress or WordPress hosting kind of as a marketing a marketing term or a marketing ploy. And basically it just summarizes a bunch of features that are packaged together specifically to power WordPress websites. So here at NameHero, we've actually designed all of our packages to accommodate WordPress and be high efficient for those packages. I would say that probably 90% of our customers across NameHero, including with our resellers, use some instance of WordPress, either for a blog or for a complete content management system. So it's very, very popular here at NameHero, and we've developed all of our hosting packages to cover it and to provide an excellent experience. So if you navigate over here to our blog, and I'll be sure to include this link in this YouTube video so you can go through and read it. I talk about details about exactly what is managed WordPress hosting and how you can kind of dive in and offer this with our reseller packages. Now, if you go and I want to go through this kind of step by step. I want to go through this post so I can explain it. I feel like just typing it out is one thing, but actually getting on video and explaining it is a whole other. So let's first talk about some of these managed WordPress companies, hosting companies that have had a ton of success here over the last 2 to 5 years recently. So let's take a look at WP Engine. There's a lot of buzz around WP Engine right now because they specifically offer WordPress hosting. So let's take a look at what they offer. Let's minimize his little chat window there. And let's click on plans, take a look. So if we scroll down, we can look. Let's go to a comparison. I like looking at check marks and tables. So if we look here, you can see that they offer basically 3 packages. Anything outside of that, you have to contact them, so it's a little bit more. And they limit based on visitors per month. So you can see basically guys like WP Engine, they're gearing up more for enterprise-based customers. They're looking for the big corporations, the big companies. And your average Joe down the street that has a website, they're going to hit maybe 25,000 visitors a month, and that's a big maybe. I mean, really 1,000 visitors a day would be 30,000 a month, and really the local grocer, the local butcher down the street, they're not going to be reaching 1,000 people a day. They're going to be reaching maybe 100. It's basically people inquiring about their services. So really, WP Engine, they specialize in this, but for more enterprise-based websites. And you can see with their personal package here for $29 a month, you don't get a whole lot. You can install one WordPress, it's shared, you have 10 gigabytes. They do offer chat support, but one thing I found that was quite interesting, they do not offer phone support, and they don't offer ticket support. I thought that was kind of disheartening. Like, why wouldn't they offer ticket support? So really, if you buy this package here for $29 a month and you run into a problem, you're actually going to have to go live chat with them to solve it. I've said before, I personally am a fan of ticket support because I can type out what issue I'm having, and then I can type out the issue I'm having, then I can go about my day and then come back when it's fixed. Without that, live chat I have to go on there and say, hey, I'm having a problem with my site, can you fix it? And then it's just back and forth dialogue, but you have to be around while they fix it. So some people love it. I'm not a big fan of it. At NameHero, we offer live chat, phone, and ticket support for all packages. We're not looking, that would be kind of, in my opinion, us at NameHero, it would be a shame if we only offered live chat support. I feel like offering live chat, phone, and ticket support is very important to a hosting company. So that's something right off the bat that you can offer your customers a better experience, because I'm sure their customers get frustrated doing live chat. I know I would. So really, their only package that offers even a ticket support is this big one here, the enterprise. You can't even submit a ticket here. If you're going to pay them $250 a month, you can't even submit a ticket to them. If I go over here to Pagely, they've recently pivoted their pricing as well to where they only start at $500 a month. They don't even offer a shared environment anymore. So they are only looking for the big websites. They're wanting to do quality over quantity. They're not wanting to do volume. So obviously this is out of the picture for the majority of small businesses using WordPress. They're not going to use Pagely anymore. The people using Pagely are going to be your big Fortune 500 companies that are using WordPress and that really want to scale it. But the scary thing about that, even for those companies, in my opinion, is a company like that, they can easily just say, well, we don't want to pay Pagely anymore. We'll hire our own division to do this. Because really, when you're talking about developing an infrastructure for WordPress, especially if you're a Fortune 500 company, wouldn't it make more sense to kind of develop that yourself, in my opinion? So that's a way that you can gain a substantial advantage over Pagely. Not to say that their service is bad. I've heard very good things about them. I just think they're just out of the price ballpark for most customers. Most of your customers, if you're a WordPress developer, most of your customers aren't going to pay this. I mean, gosh, I even got a package on here for $20,000 a month. I personally wouldn't have put that on there. I would have put contact us because that's just outrageous. So I'm glad to see they're having success, and I am glad to see that it works for them. I did notice on their site they don't have a phone number, so if you wanted to call them, you can't even do that. I think you have Talk to Enterprise Sales, so you can actually request a callback, but they don't actually have a phone number that you can talk to. So and I didn't look on here if they actually have ticket support or not. If I go down here and look, I don't even see it on here, so I'm not sure if they even offer that. I think the biggest detractor for Pagely from your customers is going to be the price is just too high for the average customer. So we go over here now to other companies I talk about, Bluehost and HostGator, both owned by Endurance EIG. They've started to offer WordPress optimized hosting in recent years because they've had to adapt with the times, because people are going to them saying, hey, do you guys offer this? And so they're having to do this. So Bluehost has a package starting at about $20 a month. And you can see down here much of the same. It seems like to me the biggest difference for their specific WordPress hosting, and this is the same in HostGator, the biggest difference between their other packages is they actually give you the available amount of RAM per site. So you can see 2 gigabytes, 4 gigabytes, and 6 gigabytes. So if we go over here to NameHero and we scroll down, we can go to account limits. Where did it go? Right up here. And you can see we already do this at NameHero for every cPanel account created at NameHero. So you can go right here and look, and this is what we offer for every cPanel that you create. So whether you have just a basic web hosting account with us or a reseller account, each cPanel account that you create has these limits right here. The main thing that differs is the disk space and bandwidth. If you need, or if your customer needs more virtual or physical memory, well, we can scale that up, but there's a charge for that, obviously. So you can see this is what we start off with, was 2 gigabytes of RAM, virtual memory. So you can see over here at Bluehost, this is where they actually list this. On their other hosting packages, they don't tell you what it is. So based on what I've heard, they will suspend your account if you're using too many resources on these packages, but they don't tell you what the limit is. So instead, they decided to rebundle as WordPress hosting and then tell you the limit. They even tell you how many CPU cores you can use. So in my opinion, they're just being more upfront with their limits and kind of rebundling what they already offer for a higher price to kind of put them in the same, I guess, category as some of these other guys. HostGator does the same thing. I actually spent some time talking with one of HostGator's sales representatives yesterday, and they explained to me that their WordPress hosting, the biggest difference is the RAM. And so we can, I think it's compare here. You can see down here, they don't specifically list, they just call it power. So they don't tell you how much RAM specifically, they just say power, it's more powerful. It's got more power to it. And they give you a monthly visitor amount, but really, I mean, in my opinion, that's a low, that's a hard thing to gauge visitors. It's really based on how much memory a site's using. You know, if you have a WordPress website that uses just the default template, they're going to use a lot less memory than someone that has 100 plugins, and 100 plugins is a lot. But even someone that has 10 plugins or more is going to use more memory than someone that has a WordPress site that's default. So that's why at NameHero, we don't put all this buzz in the site. We just tell you, here's the limits, and you can go with it. So that's by default, the accounts you create are going to have 2 gigabytes of RAM. They're going to be allowed 25 concurrent connections. They're going to have 100 processes. Here's your IO limit. Here's your IO operations per second. Here's your inode limit. So we don't just randomly suspend your account and say you use too many limits. We say, here's the limits for everything at NameHero. If you need more, then let's talk. We can work out. We can give you more limits per CPO account, but you would have to upgrade. So that's a big thing in my opinion. That kind of sets us apart, especially when you're going to talk about resale hosting. So that's what the competition offers, so to speak. Now, it's important to note that HostGator's turnaround time on tickets is 24 to 48 hours. I would assume the same's at Bluehost. I haven't talked to their support on that, but they do have live chat. Same with HostGator. Bluehost has a phone number for sales. HostGator has a phone number for support. I personally have not used it, so I can't vouch for that. So it looks like to me that when you're developing your reseller hosting business, you can offer each one of these categories that all the other companies tout. It's scalability, security, redundancy, and performance. These 4 categories is basically what WP Engine, Pagely, HostGator, and Bluehost, that's what they're all offering. So what I did here in this post is I went through each one of these categories and just plainly spelled out what we offer to our resellers in each one of them. Let's just go through them really quickly so I don't bore you too much. With scalability, we talked about the limits already. Okay, we know we're very upfront with the limits. If you need more, then you can get it. We have customers that will scale up to a managed VPS. We see this with our e-commerce customers that have a WordPress site that uses WooCommerce to sell products, and during the holiday shopping season, they will scale up to a managed server so they have plenty of RAM and resources, and then as traffic levels off after the holiday shopping season is over, they go back to the regular account that they were on. Our level 3 techs handle that every step of the way, keep the downtime minimal. It's really not a big deal. Security. This is very important, and this is something that Managed WP and Pagely, they both do a good job with. Well, at NameHero, we use CageFS, so CageFS Cage File System, and you can read about it's a virtualized file system and a set of tools that keeps each user in its own cage. So this means each user, each cPanel account that you create. So if you have a reseller account at NameHero and you have 10 customers, each customer has its own virtualized file system. A lot of times, especially those that are coming over from HostGator or Bluehost's main shared hosting, they'll come over and say, hey, my site was hacked and I don't know how and why. Well, they're not using a caged file system. So once someone gets into that server, so to speak, they kind of have a blueprint to everything else on it. Well, not using our virtualized cage file system. If someone would get in, if you would leave a plugin outdated, your customer leave a plugin outdated, or you would leave WordPress outdated and someone would gain access, they're only going to have access to that one user. They cannot go outside of it because they're essentially in a cage. So you can read about that a little bit more and give this information to your customers. Only safe binaries are available to the user. The user will not see any other users or detect the presence of other users or even other usernames on the server. They won't be able to see the configuration files. Now, we don't use Apache. We use Lightspeed, but they still won't be able to see any Lightspeed config files. And they'll have a limited view of the file system and not be able to view others' processes. They can't hijack a process. So very secure. We also offer nightly malware scanning. I noticed this was a selling point as well. Where was the malware scanning on here? It's somewhere on their sales page here for both Pagely, WP Engine, and I believe HostGator and Bluehost. They all have some type of malware scanning engine. So we do this each night. All accounts on the server are scanned. If malware is detected, our technicians manually review this report. So we make sure that it's an automated process, but we also manually review it. So every morning, our level 3s come into the office, they review the report, and they see if any malware was detected on a specific site. If it was, that malware is automatically quarantined. It's automatically removed and put in quarantine for deletion. That way, it doesn't infect any further. So if your site gets infected, if your customers get infected with malware, within that 24-hour period, we're going to contain it for you. And then we'll just simply quarantine it and remove it, and it'll be gone. Redundancy. This is another big one here. And this is why a lot of people, this is why a lot of people are going to managed WP platforms such as WP Engine or Pagely, because the redundancy at HostGator and Bluehost isn't that good. Well, that's why we achieve 99.9% uptime. One, because we're built on our high available cloud. Most of our success here at NameHero can be directly related back to our infrastructure that's built in the cloud. NameHero offers only cloud hosting. We don't have any old school hosting available. You can't order an old school dedicated server from us. It's all on the cloud. So we're able to scale our resources on demand. So we're not relying on just an old school dedicated server sitting in a data center to provision accounts. Everything is built on our cloud. So if we need to add RAM, CPU, different processors, more hard disk space, anything, it's done on demand. So we're not just relying on one single server to power our infrastructure. In addition to that, we're working with Arbor to provide comprehensive DDoS mitigation. So all of our accounts, your customers too, are protected from DDoS attacks. Now, it doesn't mean that they will never have one. It means if they do have one, we can begin to mitigate it free of charge. To be extra safe, we include nightly backups for each account. Now, as long as the inode usage doesn't surpass 100,000 or total account size of 20 gigabytes, it will automatically be backed up, and then the backups are available inside of cPanel. So they don't have to contact you and say, hey, I need to back up such and such. They can go right inside of cPanel, back up a single file, a single directory, or their entire site, or just a database. So they have that flexibility right inside of cPanel with us here at NameHero and all your customers as well. Performance, this is personally the reason why I started NameHero. Is there wasn't a good high performance web host that was affordable for small to mid-sized businesses. It was really frustrating, even for me personally. If I wanted to have a good hosting solution, I knew I had to buy a dedicated server or build a dedicated server or VPS and put everything on it, because I knew there's nowhere to really go to that offered that. So NameHero, that's how we're a little bit different than the rest of the crowd, is we offer affordable, high-speed web hosting. And we do this by our cloud that I've already talked about. But along with that, we only use solid-state drives, SSDs, protected with RAID 10. We don't use the old school traditional SATA hard drives because they're unreliable. They have a lot of moving parts and they are known to fail. SSD drives do not. We also use the Lightspeed web server, which you can read more on our blog about that. I've got some YouTube videos as well that explains the Lightspeed web server. Basically, it's faster than Apache, and it drops in and replaces Apache. So it's more efficient, but it is the same as Apache in terms that it uses the same rewrites, mod rewrites, and security features. So you don't have to worry about altering your code. If you host successfully with Apache, then you can come to Lightspeed and you don't have to change a thing. We also use MariaDB instead of MySQL. Maria is known to be safer, more secure, and it also is known to perform a lot better than MySQL. It's also a drop-in replacement to MySQL, meaning that you don't have to change up any of your code. If you're using a script that uses MySQL, it will work just fine on Maria. Finally, through our partnership with Lightspeed, we offer their custom caching plugin for WordPress. And so this is a big selling point that you should be telling your customers about. Look, this benchmark test here compares Apache with W3 Total Cache. It compares Apache with WP Rocket Cache. It then compares Lightspeed Web Server with W3 Total Cache. It compares Lightspeed Web Server with WP Rocket. Then finally, it shows Lightspeed Web Server with Lightspeed Cache, which is the setup we have. And you can see on both instances, with one with 10 users and one with 100 users on the site, you can see the transaction time is best. So you see it outperforms all those other caching plugins. Of course, we leave Apache in the dirt. I mean, Lightspeed's so much faster than Apache. You can see poor Apaches down here. And this is what Bluehost and HostGator, that's what they use for their traditional web hosting packages, is you're going to get Apache. I believe even their WordPress hosting is Apache as well. Lightspeed requires a license, so it's expensive to use. It's not cheap. So that's important. Now, finally, we also give the users the option to select multiple versions of PHP. If you're familiar with PHP 7, you already know it performs best. You're going to have a faster website using PHP 7 and WordPress. So we have the option inside of cPanel that you can go all the way up to 7.1 without contacting support. If your customer wants to use PHP 7, they can do it with just a click of a button. There's no upgrade process. There's not any of this that you have to contact support or anything like that. It just will work from right inside of your cPanel. Okay, if that's not enough, if that's not completely everything, it's important to note that we offer CloudFlare Railgun. So if you can't sell your customer with the SSD drives, if you can't sell them with the Lightspeed, if you can't sell them with Maria database, then let them know that we offer CloudFlare's Railgun. Which is a $200 a month value purchased directly for free. So if you go to cloudflare.com and you try to sign up for Railgun, you're going to have to pay them at least $200 a month per domain. If you come to NameHero, we're already integrated with the Railgun. Now, for those that don't know what Railgun is, basically it's a high available CDN, content delivery network. It basically caches your content in the web server closest, or the data center closest to your visitor. So let's say that you have a website. You're hosted at NameHero. Your visitor is in Singapore. They access your website from Singapore. Well, Cloudflare has a data center right in Singapore. So it's going to cache and pull your CSS, your JavaScript, and your images from that Singapore data center so the visitor in Singapore doesn't have a lag and your website's lightning fast. If I'm in Kansas City, Missouri, Cloudflare just opened a data center here in Kansas City, and I go to NameHero, which is obviously my site, the images are going to pull from that Kansas City data center. So that's what Railgun does. And you can Google Cloudflare Railgun. You can read on our blog, and you can give that to your customers and let them know, hey, it's free, it's included. So we have performance covered. So I put at the end here, simply put, we have all the tools available to our reseller packages. So many of our resellers are already running with this. I would say that our average customer at NameHero is a WordPress developer with 30 to 50 customers. That's our average customer. And their 30 to 50 customers range from restaurants, that ranges from self-storage facilities, it ranges from local to small businesses that really make up the economy in the United States that want to have a web presence. So that's what our average customer is, and they really run with this. And I'm publishing this video on YouTube because you can make a lot of money with managed WordPress hosting, especially right now. We kind of give you all the tools and stuff to do it with. I've showed you how it compares against industry leaders. So now it's really just up to you to develop this and offer it to your customers. If you're already developing with WordPress, then there's no reason, in my opinion, that you should not offer high performance managed WordPress hosting to your customers. It's a great selling point, and it's a way that you can earn additional revenue. You don't have to look at these pricing. You don't have to do much to beat WP Engine. I mean, for $29 a month, you're not even getting a ticket support. So if you offer $29 a month in a ticket system, then you're going to offer a better value, in my opinion. I mean, a lot of your customers aren't going to want to pay $500 a month, so that pretty much kills Pagely out of the question. Bluehost and HostGator, I mean, they just don't have the best reputation that they used to. So a lot of customers are already frustrated. So that gets rid of them. For a lot of your customers are already frustrated with them. So, leaving WP Engine, which they're going to have to pay $100 a month just to get the telephone support, which again at NameHero we offer that for all packages. So our reseller packages at NameHero, they start at $9.95 a month. You're going to get all the tools you need for your business, and then you can start offering this, and of course you can grow. Our most popular package is our corporate reseller for $19.95 a month because it comes with WHMCS, which is billing software that automates this whole process. And I don't want to get too long-winded in this video. If you want to learn more about that, just Google it or look on our blog because I've got plenty of videos about WHMCS. But that's how you can make money from managed WordPress hosting. Now has never been a better time than ever, and it's only going to continue to grow. WordPress is not going away. WordPress is only going to continue to grow. More and more companies, more and more individuals are starting to use it. The old school days of developing websites from basic HTML and Scratch are going away. Most all businesses, they want something simple. They want something they can manage. They want something that they can stay current with, and that's WordPress. So make sure you take advantage of this and hop on the managed WordPress bandwagon. If you have any questions, feel free to comment on this video or on my blog post or reach out to me personally. I'd love to hear from you. If you're a reseller of ours and you're already doing this, I'd love to hear of your success. So feel free to reach out to me as well. And if you just like to talk about ways that you're using us already or ways that we can further work together, feel free to let me know. But other than that, thanks a bunch for watching. If you enjoyed this, make sure to share with a friend or family. Have a great day, everyone.